Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the TRUUU Talk Podcast. This is episode 21. Now, Shitty said before we started, how old am I? 21. I got 21 seconds of my vocals done. But this is week 21. Now, tonight, our new way of doing things, we're going to have two topics tonight. And the first topic we're going to talk about is men and their emotions. And our second topic will be sex on the first date. Now, as always, we are joined by the TRUUU Talk First Lady, Miss Chitty. Miss Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And man, he needs no introduction, Mr. TRUUU Talk himself, Mr. Ashley. Our very own banter bringer, Miss Milan. Miss Millie Rock.
Hey.
Our favourite girl from the small islands, Miss Cher.
Oh, no.
And of course, myself, DJ Sticky Fingers. Like I said, we're going to talk about men and their emotions. Yeah, there we go. The one and only. First topic is men and their emotions. Over to you, Ash.
Aye. So I'm going to kick it off. I don't really know where to start, yeah, because there's a lot to cover when it comes to men and emotions. When people, in terms of like what people discuss, what people don't discuss. I think that, just to start off, I think that women are more emotional than men, but I feel like women deal with emotions better than men. Do you understand? So when you got an emotional woman, you understand what you're gonna get. When you got an emotional man, you can get anything. It can go from man crying to man trying to shoot at you to man trying to chase down your mum. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, men with their emotions, they're so sporadic. Like, it can go from them being all right to the next day that they're doing a madness. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like when it comes to men and emotions is something that men don't really discuss, or they pretend that they don't really are not so affected by it. But I feel like men are affected by it a lot more than they would like to be honest about. You know what I mean? I feel like if men are honest about how they feel, or honest about how things are affecting them, they'll probably suffer a lot less. You know what I mean? So I feel like, men are very emotional, but they're not very good at dealing with their emotions. So they either suppress it, or they're over emotional.
Do you think there's a reason as to why men will suppress it?
Yeah, it's because there's like an image of a man. You know, like you hear like a real man, or real men don't do this and real men don't do that. So it's that need to feel, it's that need for validation. It's that need to feel like, yeah, I'm a man. Am I doing what a real man would do? Am I acting how a real man would act? Do you get what I'm saying? So it's that pressure to feel like you have to keep up a certain expectation in order to be a man. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, definitely agree. Milan, what do you think? You agree with what she said as well?
100%. Men, a lot of men, there are like men out there who talk about their emotions, but a lot of men don't talk about their emotions. Again, following from Ashley, I think because they have an idea in their head of the ideal man. I don't mean from like a woman's point of view, but from a man's point of view. You could grow up, and then a lot of people in households, one, if their dad is around, their dad doesn't cry. Their dad doesn't sit down and have the emotional talks like with them. The dad doesn't. Do you know what I mean? That's what that's what the mum's job is to do. To sit down and to talk to the kids and go through it. Do you know what I mean? So if your dad's in your household, your dad is just the guy who goes to work. He comes home. He eats. He goes to work. Do you know what I mean? And people who then who don't have their dad around, well, they have to be now the man of the house. Do you know what I mean? So they can't cry or be like upset or be mad because they got to look after their mum and their siblings. Like in certain households, if your nan lives in your house and your aunties, do you know what I mean? You as the guy now need to look after everyone. So I feel like men don't share their emotions. But then on the other hand, I feel like some of my friends, they've got one person, whether it's like a female or like a male, that they can speak to about their emotions. You know, a lot of people come to me. I don't know why, but they come to me, and I've seen some of my friends, men, cry, like literally sit down in front of me and cry. But I'm not the type of person to then hold that against them in a different situation. Do you know what I mean? That's what has happened. Like, then I'll try to help them like out of it, and we move on. Do you know what I mean? I'm not gonna like a couple of years like down the line, like, oh my god, I saw cry and and he was saying, do you know what I mean? I'm not that type of person. Which is why I think people do come to me and speak to me about their like feelings and emotions and stuff. But if guys just spoke more, then it would be normal. Then they wouldn't have to hold their feelings in or learn how to suppress it. Do you know what I mean? They can just be normal.
So, Shay, do you second that? So, do you have an issue with would you feel differently if a guy was crying to you? Would you feel differently towards him or about him?
No, I think it's very important for men to express themselves emotionally, because a lot of the time they hold back and, you know, they don't really know how to let their emotions out. You know, that being said, I feel like emotions are a thing where you can let them out in your own way that is the best for you. Do you know what I mean? I feel like with men, it's so difficult for them to express themselves fully. And, you know, this can cause a lot of problems in their lives, in their relationships. And, you know, I feel like that's why men taking their lives as well is so high, because, you know, they really find it hard to express themselves how they want to. So, yeah, I do think it's important for men to express themselves emotionally and, you know, to not feel a way about it. I don't think emotions are a female thing. I just think, you know, that's how society has made it out to be, and it's really not like that. We all have emotions, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think touching a very serious point in terms of men taking their own lives. Chids, what's your views on this one?
I think I said on a previous live about the area that I live in, the male suicide numbers have been quite high over the past few years. And we'll be very close to one of the families who boys to suicide. Talking to them and like gaining an understanding, it is, I think a lot of the time it is down to the fact that men feel that they can't speak about their emotions. And I personally think it's down to like environment, it's down to who is around you. Like I've got a brother and he's been raised by like me and my mum. So the energy in his life has been predominantly female. So he's always been able to express his emotions. It might take him some time and whatever, but he's always able to come and talk to us. He could spot things in his friends. Do you get me? Because he's been made aware of it. I think there is a massive stigma against men. It's like, you know, when it's people are telling them to man up and do those kind of things, it doesn't make you any less of a man just for expressing your emotions. If anything, it shows that you're in touch with yourself. Do you get me? So I think men need to make sure that they surround themselves with people that they can be open with. They need to be able to spot the signs in their friends, because, you know, a lot of men group together, spend a lot of time together, and I think if you're that close in a circle, you should be able to talk about anything to your friends. You shouldn't feel no way about expressing your emotions. And I just think it's just really sad when a man feels that he can't open up and speak. Do you get me? That's why I always try to put that energy out there. I do appeal to a lot of women because obviously I'm a female and I can relate. And I'm an emotional person. I'm okay with expressing my emotions to a height. Do you get me? But I think, like, I always try to my male friends, I always try to speak to them in the same way as well and give them that same energy, because it's not, it's not gender specific. Depression is not gender specific. Anxiety is not gender specific. Everybody feels it. We're all human beings. You get me? So I think it's the thing where men need to know that they can actually speak out. And I think when men are around women more, they're more inclined to. But then sometimes it is just down to the individual whether they can feel that they can come forward and speak. And if they can't, then it's amazing. But it's just so sad for the ones that feel that they can't. You know what I mean?
No, I hear you. I 100% hear what you're saying there. But I have a little, maybe sort of challenge to this, right? So going back to what Ashley's saying in terms of men not feeling they can do so, but the ladies on the live who said that they're happy for men to do so. So clearly there's a mismatch somewhere in it, because you're all saying that you're happy for a man to do so, but men feel like they can't do so. So maybe my challenge is it possible that you feel that men can be too emotional? Can a man be too emotional? I'm going to throw it to you ladies first before I head over to Ash. So if men feel like they can't do so, and my question is essentially, if men feel like they can't do so, is it because you say that men are too emotional? Is that a possibility? If I go to you, Milan, because I think I came to you first.
What do you mean by too emotional? Like,
I mean, in the sense that, that's a good question. I mean, in the sense that, as I said, Ash made a good point at the beginning saying that sometimes men feel like they can't do so, can't come to women and be emotional in front of women. But you've all said that you have no issue with men being emotional in front of you. So clearly there's a mismatch somewhere in it. Something along the line is not working, because if you're saying you're happy for us to do so, but we're not doing so, either it's we're not taking the lead, or something on the other side, isn't it? So I'm kind of asking, is it that we can be too emotional? Is that you're happy for a man to be emotional to you, but could he be too emotional?
I don't think I've really been in a situation like that. This is what I mean. Like, what do you mean? Like, what, a guy's gonna just keep crying like every day, like for no reason? Or you mean like he's like every day he's just expressing his emotions and how he feels, and I've got to listen? Do you know what I mean?
Let's say a bit of both. Let's say pick either one. If he cries all the time, or because you don't really often hear about men crying, do you? Generally speaking, it's not as common as hearing about women crying.
No, I think just to kind of make it a bit more clear, I think that it's easier for a girl to accept a friend, like a man that's a friend, to be emotional, than to accept their man, or the man that's their man being emotional. I think that's two different things. I think it's easier for a man to go to a woman that's a friend and be emotional, rather than to go to his girl who has a certain image of him, who looks at him in a certain way, who holds him up to a certain expectation and stature, to go and break down like that. Do you get what I'm saying? So I feel like, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like if it was your friend, I think he could be way more emotional to you than your man could be. You get what I mean? I think your man would feel like there's a limit. Man can't be bawling out to man's girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like if it's your friend, like, you wouldn't feel that same need to keep up a certain image. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's, tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like if your man did it, it would be a bit more awkward than if your friend did it.
No, yeah, 100%. Like, obviously, like I said, I've got guys that come to me that want to just sit and have a cry, and that's fine. Do you know what I mean? But if, like, don't be a drip. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, don't be a wet cloth. Like, I think it's because it's not even that we've grown up with it. I don't even know where it's come from, where this stigma's come from, that a man must be like macho and can't cry and da-da-da. So because from somewhere, we've like everyone has grown up hearing that, I feel like if your man was constantly crying, like, as a girl, I don't cry often, and I don't cry a lot. It's hard for me to cry. Literally, the most that I'll cry, so obviously everyone can tell I have like a stutter. If I get into an argument with someone, obviously where my adrenaline is going, my stutter is worse. So I'll end up crying, but I'm not crying because I'm upset. I'm crying because I'm angry that I can't get my point across. So that's like mostly when I'll cry. If I'm upset, I'll just move on. Do you know what I mean? But that's me as a person. But that's me coming from a girl's perspective in my eyes. So if my man was constantly crying because he was upset at something that, I suppose it depends on what he's crying over. Do you know what I mean? Because if it's something that we can like work on and we're working on it, why do you keep crying about it? Do you know what I mean? Like, we're dealing with it. I think just, it depends on the situation, to be honest. But I think it's definitely easier if your like friend is coming to you and crying than your man. But like I say, it's because we've grown up with this stigma and this image of a man has to be a macho man. Do you know what I mean? But the world is changing and you never know.
Yeah, definitely think that's a valid point in terms of what you're saying, in terms of our mindset and the stigma behind a man has to be a certain way, women can be only a certain way. Sure, how do we change that stigma that men have to be macho and can't share their emotions?
I don't think the stigma itself can be changed because, it's already a stigma. So, it's already there in society for people to be aware of. But one thing I would say is like, I don't think it's men that are too emotional. I think people in general are too emotional. And like, what we got to remember as well, emotions are not just crying, do you know what I mean? It could be anything from anger or, even just feeling a bit down. Like, it can literally be anything. So I feel like emotions, they can range, and it can go from 0 to 100 as well. Like, there can be some people who might get into, I don't know, an argument or a fight, and it's because of their emotions. Do you know what I mean? It's their emotions that's guiding them down that path. So I just feel like when it comes to men, and even people in general, actually, it's really important to know yourself and know how you handle your emotions, how to deal with your emotions. Because once you learn that, it's like, you're kind of unstoppable. And naturally, your emotions, once you know how to handle them properly, then that will be, I'm not getting my words out. Yeah, that will be like, how do I explain it? It will make everything more healthy. Do you know what I mean? So, your emotions can come across in a healthy way. Because, when emotions come across in an unhealthy way, I think that is really the problem. Do you know what I mean? It's not, I don't think emotions are a problem, but them coming across in an unhealthy way is the problem. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I just think it's important for men and people to express themselves. Do you know what I mean? However you do that.
Definitely have to agree with you there. And I think you made also a valid point in there in terms of talking about the different types of emotions. I think we have focused a bit too much on just one type. And I think that's a good point that you're saying, that there are others, anger, sadness and what have you. I saw that Chidi and Ashley were both, I saw Ashley giving you the clicks over there as well.
That was poetry still.
And I saw Chidi nodding along a lot, especially when you're saying about people are generally quite emotional. Chids, what are you saying? Talk to us.
I'm going to talk to you, Sticks. So I was one of my previous relationships, and this is kind of going back to what Ashley was saying about how it seems like it's easier for men to be able to speak to like their female friends rather than go to their partner. And I can totally agree with that, because like, so in a previous relationship, I was with somebody he was severely depressed, and I had no idea. And that was because, and it's mad because when I look back, all the signs were there, but because I looked at him with certain eyes, I missed everything. So when his depression got to a point where he would just lock himself in the bedroom, and I wouldn't see him for days, and he would just disappear. Do you get me? And I was like, why? What's going on? But all the signs were actually there. But because I was seeing him from a different viewpoint, I missed them. So I think it's important. This is why it's important for women to connect with men on, like, whether they're your partner, whether they're your friend, whatever. You need to keep the connection. There needs to be an element of emotion in the connection always, and you have to look at it from a friend point of view. Your partner should be your friend anyway, and I think that's the mistake that a lot of people have made, and that's why they miss certain things about their partner. So when the problem arises, or any problem arises, they don't know how to handle it, because they're like, no, you're not supposed to be this person, you're not supposed to be this way, you're meant to be strong, you're meant to be this, that, and the other. But no, we have to look at it. A person comes with so many different, there's so many different pieces to a person, and it does not make you exempt from depression, anger, paranoia, all these things, just because that person is your partner. Do you get me? So I think if we look at it, we just need to look at it differently. And I think if we looked at it from a different angle, then we would see things a lot sooner, rather than it getting to where it doesn't need to be. So then you can find ways of helping. If your partner cries on a daily basis, they cry on a daily basis. I always say it's better for somebody to cry. Imagine holding that in. We've all cried, and you know how you feel. All right, you might feel tired, you might feel drained afterwards, but at least imagine you're holding all that inside and you're not letting that out. And then, as Cher said, some other people might let it out through anger. Do you get me? They might just switch on everybody around them for no apparent reason. But when somebody switches, it's never for no apparent reason. They might actually be going through something, you know. So sometimes we have to, this is where we need to stop being a little less judgmental and think, hang on a minute, this person is acting slightly out of character. This is spontaneous, and this is a little bit crazy. What's actually going on? We need to dig deeper as human beings. I don't think it's not gender specific, because I can express my emotions, like I said, to a height. But there are a lot of times when I've got breakdowns, do you get me? And then I got my family looking at me, and people who are around me looking at me saying, "Oh, what's wrong with you? Fix it." Do you get me? When I was going through depression, my mother, I went to my mother. My mother looked me in my face and told me to fix her. What's wrong with you? Because she looks at me as such a strong person. It wasn't acceptable. Do you get me? So and I think this is what society, and this is what our families, and this is what our friends put on us. There's a lot on us as human beings, especially as an individual. If you're seen as a strong individual, it's like society says, nah, you can't be depressed, you can't be low, what's wrong with you, fix up. No, we need to stop doing that. We need to see the signs, we need to see the symptoms, and we need to be more aware. There needs to be more awareness. You know what I mean?
I agree with you there, especially about the awareness part as well. Actually, I'm going to poll to Ash. It might be a bit too personal. I don't mean it that way. But I think, right. Ash, if you think if there was more awareness, you think it would be easier for us as men to be more emotional towards women, or sharing our emotions to women?
I don't think there's a lack of awareness. I just think there's a lack of realness. You get me? Because people build connections based on bullshit. You understand? If people build connections based on real shit, then they wouldn't feel awkward about sharing their emotions with the people that they build connections with, or people that they're friends with. Most people are not friends with people that they actually like, and that's the reality. Most people are friends with people that don't like them, and they don't like. So you're not going to share your emotions with your friends, because your friends don't even really like you, and your friends don't even really care about your emotions. You understand? Like me, people used to share their emotions with me because they know I actually care about how they feel. Whether I'm someone who chills with them every day or not, they know that, man, actually, how you feel or what you're telling me is going to affect me. I'm not going to hear that you feel suicidal, or you feel and like you hate yourself, you hate your life, and then I'm just gonna forget about that when you leave. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's why people like, and I know that there's people that I talk to that actually care about how I feel. I'm not gonna talk about how I feel to people that don't give a shit, because it's a waste of breath, it's a waste of energy, and it's more draining and damaging than anything else. Because those same people that don't like you are gonna use your emotions to hurt you. You get me? And that's what most people go through that. That's why most people, or most men, don't feel like trusting the people that's around them. I wouldn't trust the people that's around me. Do you get what I'm saying? To share my emotions with. So I get that concept. But I don't like something that Cher said that I wrote down, yeah, because it was profound. Do you get what I'm saying? It wasn't profound, but it's just true, innit? It says emotions are not the problem. It's the way that people express their emotions that's the problem. Do you get what I mean? Because you're going to be emotional regardless. Do you get what I'm saying? If I'm angry, I can phone my friend and be like, you know what, I'm getting mad right now. And I'd be like, oh, whatever, they tell me whatever I need to hear in order for me to not feel like that. If I didn't have that friend, I would just get mad. Do you get it? I'll just go do whatever my mind was telling me to do. I'll just express it in that way. So it's not that fact. It's not the emotion that's the problem. It's the way that we express the emotion that's the problem. You get it? You can't stop emotion. You can't prevent it. You can't even change it once you feel it. Do you get what I'm saying? But you can definitely control how you react to it. Do you get what I mean? And that's the power. That's what I think. That's what Cher was trying to say. The power is in being able to control how you react to your emotions and being able to like express it in a healthy way. And that's where your strength comes from. You become in control of your life. You become in control of your actions. You become in control of your emotions, and you become in control of how like people receive you and how you receive people. Do you know what I mean?
Preach, my brother, preach.
Church.
Speaking about the emotion stuff, I think to put a bit of context on this in terms of where this particular topic came from, I think Chidi and myself were talking about men and their emotions, and I think there was like a meme that was going around, and it had a picture of Michael Jordan crying, Kobe Bryant crying, Tyrese crying, and somebody else, I can't remember who the fourth person was, but all like crying. I think it might have been Kanye actually, and again, people obviously making memes of them and then sharing it, and it's a funny subject to most. And then it was a case of, well, why would you expect men to share their emotions if a man's crying that you're going to take a meme of him and turn it into something funny, which is not. Especially the Michael Jordan one. Michael Jordan was crying. The picture that we saw was him crying when he was talking at Kobe Bryant's funeral. Yeah, he's at a man's funeral, sharing his stories. It's an emotional time, but yet we're going to turn it around, try to make it something funny. And it's like, why would you want to express your feelings or emotions if people are going to do that to you? So that's why I get where you're coming from, to be fair. Personally, I would find it difficult to share my emotions again, especially if I was a celebrity, because why would I want to be memed? Like, who wants that in their life? And I think even on actually the Michael Jordan one, he actually says it during his speech. He even says, I wasn't going to cry because I knew you guys would meme the hell out of me. And what so said, so done. Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. They were tough.
But it's the same thing, man. You're looking for validation in the wrong places. The internet ain't the brethren. Do you get? Like, you get me? The trolls are not your family. You know what I mean? So don't expect validation from people that don't love you, people that don't care about you, people that don't like you, man. You can't expect people that don't love you or like you to care about your emotions. They're gonna mock you, innit? So share your emotions with people that actually give a fuck.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I hope you ladies take note of that, because we might be coming to you to share emotions with on those late Friday nights. Speaking of like sharing emotions and stuff, that kind of gets into our second topic with sex on the first date. Because don't forget, we're going to start with exactly as my guy. I'm looking at Cher, of course. Looking at Cher's like, don't look at me. Chids, what is your views on sex on the first date?
You know what I thought you were going to say? I thought you was going to say, what was all that you were talking before we started the live? Sex on the first date. So people, there's a lot of different things about this, isn't it? Some people think that, sleeping with somebody on the first date makes you bit of a slag if you're a woman or a man, whatever. I just think if at the end of the day, if you go out with somebody, you're feeling them, they're feeling you, it's consensual, do your thing, innit? It's not like it, especially like as a woman, I know, yeah, if I'm sexually attracted to a man, I know if I'm going to sleep with them, I've already planned that shit in my head. I've already visioned how I'm going to ride him, yeah? So if I've done that, what's wrong with me doing it the first time we go out or the 8th time? What's wrong? It's going to happen anyway, regardless. You get me? So I don't really see the problem in it. I don't see why people judge it. I also know when I'm not going to sleep with a guy, yeah? So I could make a guy take me up. Listen, but I can't even remember what year was it. I think it was 2018. I was living my best life, yeah. I decided that I was celibate, yeah, or 2017. I went up with bear guys. I made a lot of men take me out. You're buying me food, yeah? You're doing all these things. We're not going to do anything. And I made that very clear. If you still want to continue, then that's cool. You get me? But there are a lot of people who go out there just to, they'll look at someone and say, I'm going to sleep with that person, yeah? And they've put it in their heads and they will do the most to try and get it. But if a person decides that they're not going to sleep with that person and they just want to go out and do stuff or whatever, then that's cool too. But it's also cool if you want to sleep with somebody on the first date. I just don't see a problem with it. I think it's fine. All fun.
Yeah, definitely love that. There's no issue there. Mila, I'm going to come up to you in 1 second. It's going to be a couple of messages. Kaiser Soze says, Salaam alaikum, my brothers and sisters. Allah bless you all. Life, exactly. Life.purpose.journey says, men need to be taught from young that it's okay to talk about their emotions. Talking about our previous topic about men and their emotions. And Kaiser says, marry first, then have war in the bedroom. Fair enough. Milan, Millie Rock, what's your views on sex on the first? We know obviously Chili's views. What's your views on sex on the first date?
I do the same. If you want to skin out, go skin out. Like, we're all adults. Do you get it? Like, it's like a couple of lives ago when we was talking about like numbers. If you want to go and sleep with 30,000 people, I don't even know. Yeah, there's more than 30,000 people in the world. If you want to go and sleep with 30,000 people, then go and do it. Just don't come near me. Do you get it? But no, sex on the first date. On a serious note, I think if maybe don't necessarily ask someone to go on a date because you think that's gonna like make you sleep with them. Do you know what I mean? Go on a date because you genuinely want to get to know the person and to take them out, whether you go for food or you go, I was going to say skydiving, but you don't talk. You know, you do golfing, you go for a walk, a bike ride. Do you know what I mean? Go and do something. But if the chemistry is there and both of you like want it, then get it in. Do you know what I mean? Like, life is too short. This year especially has taught us that like life is too like short. So I think if your intentions are, like I said, you want to actually genuinely get to know that like person, and who knows, you might sleep with them on the first date and then like 5 dates later it doesn't like work, but it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? At least you've tried. Don't go on a date with someone and then sleep with them and then air them, and then you don't talk to them again, but you go back to your boys or your girls and you're like, yeah, I bagged that one. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't be immature about it because we're all grown. But sex on a first date, I don't think is that much of a big deal, as long as, you know, that's not what you set out to do. Although, if you're getting ready for a date, just saying, you kind of have to tidy yourself up just in case. Just saying. Guys and girls, because don't be coming all underneath your pants and shit. Do you know what I mean? And I ain't talking about your balls either. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I'm finished now.
Millie Rock. You do make me laugh.
No banter bringer for real.
Exactly, and you know, you made a good point, and so did Chidi. Chidi said, you know, when you're getting ready, you know whether or not it's going to be happening before you got to your date. I'm going to come to you, Ash, in 1 second to read a couple of these messages. Life.purpose.journey says, I think it's personal preference. People shouldn't be judged on what they do, even though me personally, I wouldn't. Miss Nams says, remember when people make fun of sharing emojis, they can be projecting their insecurities about expressing their emotions. I think talking about our previous topic about men and their emotions, but now we're on, is anything wrong with sex on the first date? Ash, over to you. What's your views on this one? Anything wrong with sex on a first date?
I could come with some like immature view and that, yeah, be a bit of a misogynist. But I actually thought about this, you know. I actually have an actual genuine thought about this. I think it depends on how old you are. You get me? Because I don't want to just put it out there like, yeah, sex on the first date is good. Because I wouldn't tell my little sister that. You know what I'm trying to say? That I wouldn't tell my little people that. I would say, raw, like, when you're a certain age, no, don't be having sex on the first date. When you're young, you don't be, you get what I'm saying? With 18 to 25, no, fam, don't do it. Sure, get me, make them prove that they, get me, actually want you and certain things. That's what I would tell my younger people. Do you get what I'm saying? But over 30 people, you get me, big people then, shit, we're done with that. Do you get what I'm saying? We're done with the games and all that. We know what we want, we know what we're on, you know, like, do you get what I'm saying? It's a completely different thing. We're ready, you get me, our body counts high now, you get me, we're not playing that game. So I think it depends on how old you are. If you're 18 to 25, I would suggest you don't be doing the sex on the first date thing. That's just what I would say. You get me? Because the environment that you're in isn't suitable for that. Do you get what I'm saying? It isn't suitable for that. You're only around the same people. Everyone goes to the same colleges and schools, and you get what I'm saying? Everyone's around each other. You live at your mum's, and everyone's in the same ends, and you get me? It's a bit dead. I wouldn't suggest it. But if you're a big person, and you get me, then come on, over 30, you ain't got time for them jokes there, bro. If you like someone, you shouldn't do what you're doing. Do you get what I mean? Like, man's a big man. Do you mean? Like, I know that, man, no, you ain't no virgin, girl. You know what I'm saying? You got 2 kids and shit, stop playing. You know what I'm saying? So I think if you're a certain age, then obviously it's calm. If you're over 30, then sex on the first date shouldn't even be a conversation topic. But if you're under 25, then no, man, don't do it, man. You get me? Keep your team pristine until you're 30 and then act like a hoe after. You know what I mean?
I definitely like Ash's take on that one. If you're 18 to 25, no. If you're over 30, then whatever not. But Ash, what about if you're between 25 and 30? There's a bit of a grey area there. That's
the grey area. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in between 25 and 30, so I can't speak for them. But I would say that that's the age of maturity, isn't it? The age between 25 and 30, that's a mature age group. Do you know what I'm saying? So I feel like the same rules apply, but it depends, because you might be 26 and be an idiot. You get me? So I'm not saying that it works for everybody. You get what I'm saying? You might be 26 and still be acting like you're 18. You get me? You might be 26 and still acting like a baby. You get what I mean? So I can't just say because you're that age, yeah, you can start doing big people things. No, because you might not be mentally ready for that. Do you know what I'm saying? So I would say it depends, because that age there is meant to be the age of maturity when you start growing into your real mature adult mind. But it's not the same for everyone. Do you get what I mean?
Definitely. So before I head over to before I head over to Miss Cher, rather, Miss Nam says, sex on the first date, I think it's situational, but should always be a choice you are comfortable with without thinking about what happens next. Oh, and also be safe and responsible. And again, as Ashley said, if you're between 18 and 25, it's a no-no. 26 to 30, possibly, but it's a great area depending on your maturity. 30 and above, then let's get it on. Miss Cher, what's your views on sex on the first date?
Well, I think, like, as grown adults, you know, everybody can do what they like, you know, only God can judge. But for me personally, I'm very big on energy, so it takes me a long time to feel people's energy, do you know what I mean? So that's one thing I would say, like, to actually, feel someone's energy first. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people are out here sleeping with demons, It's not a joke. It's true. A lot of people are out here sleeping with demons. So I just think, feel people's energy and, do your thing.
Right,
demon time.
I love that what you just said. Yeah, definitely. Like, I totally agree. Yeah, because I got to a certain age and I was like, I think why I say personally for me, sex on the first date is I don't see a problem with it. I think it's because I was kind of looking at it from my own personal experiences or my own personal view. So my personal view is I know who I won't sleep with. Do you get me? And I know if I've made the decision in my mind to sleep with somebody, it's been thought about. It's based on energy. It's based on connection. It's a spiritual thing. Do you get me? Because sex is actually, like what you were saying, it's an exchange. So when you're sleeping with somebody, everything is going through you. So you do have to be vigilant about who you choose to have sexual relations with. Do you get me? You have to be vigilant about it. It is about energy, and it has to be a thought. There needs to be a thought process before anything actually happens. I'm not saying to just go out there and the first person you go out with, just go and bang them. That's not what it is. It does have to be based on something. So yeah, I definitely agree with what you said about people are sleeping with demons. Trust me, demons. Demons are spiritual.
So on that, right, just anyone that's watching this, if you want to sleep with Cher on the first date, right, remember what she said, it's about energy. So what you need to make sure you do is firstly, burn some incense sticks, right, to get the mood right. And have your Red Bull.
Speak for yourself, innit? Don't speak for me.
I am so sticky. You might as well just say that they need to put some crystals in their pocket, balance their chakras. You get me? Sticky.
Not even enough sometimes.
Go get the energy right.
Cher was talking about demons, and Sticky's trying to tell you how to disguise yourself if you are one. Don't listen to Sticky. Yeah, Cher will know if you're sitting right. You don't need to disguise yourself and start burning incense sticks. Trust me, because Cher will know.
Sticky's moving mad.
Yeah, drink your water. I hope it's holy. Did you bless
This
it?
is what
Before
you do, Sticky.
Did you?
Hey, Sticky, demon time.
That's what I'm saying,
no,
boy.
He's on demon time, boy.
But I'm just getting what she's saying, man. Your energy's got to be right. So come with the incense sticks, you're good. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm saying. But speaking of sex on the first date, I mean, look, yeah, good news stories. I think, if I'm not mistaken, John Legend and his wife, Chrissy Teigen, I think they said that they had sex on the first date, and now many years later they're married, kids, and what have you. But on that though, right? Because you guys are saying sex on the first date is not an issue. Is that fair to say that you're saying that one night stands are okay as well?
I'm not saying they're okay, but if that's what you want to do, go and do it. If you're being safe and you're practicing safe sex and you both know what you're doing, people. I think sometimes, like especially when people go out and they're raving and whatever, they know if they're up for a one night stand or not most of the time. But then I also believe that it's like, me personally, I never go out with a view to, if I go out, I come home alone, because you can't make clear decisions when you're drunk and you're mashed up and all kinds of shit can go down, and I don't want to be that person that wakes up the next morning looking at that person. I got a friend, she's done that many times, and woke up and she's like, oh no, the guy is very big, the fuck up. But you don't want to put yourself in those situations. I think it's about thought and it's about maturity and it's about being responsible as an adult. There are a lot of people out there just going around sleeping with any and everyone. This is not what needs to happen. It needs to be like, and I will say it again, it needs to be a thought process beforehand. Conversations that need to have been had. Do you get me? It's not about just going out there, seeing someone you like, you held a little too wine with them that night, and then your next thing is sleeping with them, and then the next thing you don't see them again. I mean, if that's what you want to do, then that's on you. But the feeling's not going to be nice afterwards. So I would always say, just think about it.
I agree, man. I don't think that the one night stand thing is lit at all, fam. I don't think there's nothing lit about it, fam. That's very trash, isn't it? It's very trash. Because we're talking about having sex with someone on the first date, yeah? Meaning that you've spoken to this person, you chat to this person, you've arranged to link this person, and then you're going and doing that, yeah? That's completely different. To meet someone now and fuck them now, that's crazy. You get me? That's what that... I don't know, man. I think that's a bit... you know what I mean?
But is there really a difference, though? Isn't it it's very, very similar? Because as you
It's not similar because just because it's the first date, it could be a 2,000 conversation. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but check this, though. So we're saying it's the first date, right? But if it is your first date and it only happens the one time and you don't have it, why is that different to a one-night stand?
That's not a one-night stand, though. That's just a link that didn't flourish into anything. You thought you was going to link again, you didn't. A one-night stand is, bruv, listen, we're at this rave. Man got a hotel. I'm not from this town, yeah? We got a hotel, yeah? After the rave, we're going to the hotel, and then after I leave, I don't want your number or nothing. That's a one-night stand, bro. You know what I mean?
Are we saying that the difference is only if a one-night stand then is essentially if you've only met that person that day or evening?
Yeah.
Would that be the same?
That's what I think anyway. I don't know. Maybe someone can come with the dictionary definition, but that's what I assumed it meant.
No, I feel like 100%. Like a one-night stand, you saying it's the same, that's like me literally walking 10 minutes this way, knocking on a door, and the first guy that comes to it, I barge myself in. I start having like, obviously, you know, it has to be consensual, but I just start having sex with this guy. Like, where do I know him from? I haven't spoken to him. If you're going on a date with someone, unless it's a blind date that's been set up by your like friends or something like that, literally 100% of the time, you've spoken to this person before so that you've arranged to go on a date. You don't just go and sit down in bloody, I don't know, like Nobu, and then you see a lonely person sitting over there and you're like, oh mate, do you want to come over? Do you want to come sit at my table? Yeah, sweet. Like, we're on a date now. Do you know what I mean? That's not how dates work.
In the movies.
Do you know? Do you know what I mean? That's not how a date works. You've spoken to the person before, whether you've been around them in a friendship group, or they've slid in your DMs, or you've seen them on a swiping thing. What's it called? A dating like website. Do you know? I sound like a grandma on a dating like website. Do you know what I mean? You've spoken to them before. A one night stand, you don't know it. Literally, if you put a lineup in the morning, if you did a lineup with 5 people, you don't even 5, 3 people, you don't know what one's what. You're like, you know, could you lie down and do this position so I can maybe, do you know what I mean? You don't know who they are. That's not cool. But, you know, I don't judge if that's what you do.
Each their own. You know what I mean?
You know, go out and...
It's not lit, though.
Do your thing.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here then, right? Sure, I'm going to come over to you. But before I do, Life.Purpose.Journey says energy is real. I think going back to what Cher was saying earlier about energy and demons. As I said, burn them incense sticks and you're fine. Cher, so playing devil's advocate, right? Going by what Ashley and Milan are saying about the definition of a one-night stand, what if you go to, you know, those party weekenders? So, you know, people do Amsterdam weekend or wherever it may be. So if I go to Amsterdam weekender and I meet you on a Friday, and I don't mean you personally, I'm just about general, because obviously you and I, we got our own thing, right? But if I go to Amsterdam weekender on a Friday and I speak to you on the Friday, I speak to you on the Saturday, we do the thing on Sunday, and we're back home on Monday, is that class as a one-night stand, or is that class as sex on the first date?
You sound like Craig David, fam.
Did they get taken out on a date?
Let's say no. Let's say we met on the Friday, so met you in a club, and then was chatting on Saturday. I saw you in the same because again it's a weekender, so you know they do different themes on different days. But I saw you on the Friday, then I saw you on the Saturday, and on the Sunday, you know, it went down, and then Monday we flew back home.
Then, isn't it? But I don't know. It's up to people, isn't it, what they want to do? But yeah, that's a one night stand.
It's the same as a one night stand, man. But it's a holiday
romance.
It's a holiday fling, innit? So people people justify it a bit better. Like, listen, I went on holiday to be a hoe, innit? So yeah, get me. So it's people go to the Turkey weekender or whatever weekender to be hoes, innit? So do hoe shit, innit? And then forget about it when you get back on the Sunday. You feel me?
Yeah, people do that. It's like, I've done those weekenders, and I would definitely not sleep with anybody there. Do you know, you can't. I mean, you can if that's what you set out to do, but it's nasty. Don't do it. Just don't do it. It's still a one night stand.
But going by your friend who you were talking about earlier, I'm sure she's probably done a few of those things on a weekender. She's been to any weekenders.
Yeah, many times, and she's just like, I mean, she doesn't do it now because we're grown, and she's like, it's not the life for her. But it never made her feel nice, and it was always alcohol fueled, drug fueled. You get me? It was all mad, and at the time, it just seemed. It's like, yeah, this is
and you're going to see the person when you get back to ends, and they're not going to say hi.
Exactly, exactly. And everyone's like, and it's awkward. Do you get me? And it's like, oh my God. And then you go to a place and it's like, oh my God, we've all been through it. Do you get me? It's mad. It's crazy. Like, you can't, like, she's actually moved out of the end now because that's how peaky it got. Do you get me? In order for her to start a life and meet somebody and start a family and everything, she had to move out of where we live because it was just too peak for her.
What, your friend?
You don't want to live like that.
What are you saying? Just too many weekends?
Yeah.
Too many weekends?
Basically, lots of weekenders, and it was just like, it was always drink and drug fuel. Do you get me? And it's like, yeah, the time it just seemed amazing. It's like, yeah, I smashed this one, and then it's like, oh, I smashed his brother as well. Oh, I smashed his cousin. Oh, I smashed. It's not. You don't want to live like that.
Listen, the hoes be hoes, man.
Can I say, when we come down to where you guys live, right, and we go out for a party, I think we should invite her along. I know Ash is agreeing with me. Ash is like, yep, bring her too.
Don't talk to me, wow. I ain't say that.
She doesn't live in Wales anymore.
Oh, wait, as long as she's in the UK, she could get her a train ticket, it's fine. You know what I mean? So we're all good. I'm sure the drinks are much cheaper in Wales than they are in London. So
you know it.
You know what I'm saying? Couple JDs and Cokes were good. Do you know what I mean? Guys, we've got about 5 more minutes left to go. It's almost been an hour already. Got 5 minutes left to go. But yeah, definitely, Chiz, bring your friend along. Do you remember wrestling? You know, back in the day, wrestling, Ash. You know, this is that tag team, innit? Tag team. Yeah. Tag your it and then tag me back. And
You can pin it. You can 1, 2, 3 it. Now I'll just say it up to you. You get me? You can 1, 2, 3
Absolute trap.
I am sorry. It's sticky. You brought it out of me. I'm sorry.
Honestly, guys. But she said she's grown now. She's got kids. She's got a man.
Yeah. But I'm saying, when does that stop?
This is what we was talking about, listeners. The demons that are out there, yeah, trying to disguise themselves with incense sticks. No, look, they're trying to draw out a woman who's hung up her coat, closed the closet door, got her kids and got her man, and she's living happy. They're trying to drag her back. See what it's like. The demons.
Tell them.
Listen, once you're for the streets, you're always for the streets.
So, that's a good point, right? Anyone's watching this that's easily offended, just know that we are just playing, right? We're just joking. It's just joking. If you're easily offended,
I know hoes has changed. You can't turn a hoe into a housewife. You can.
Well, look, don't forget Dre and Michelle. Right? I know the socialite, I don't even call her. Dre and Michelle said your wholeness can be deleted. Right? She said it herself. Your wholeness can be deleted.
How?
Apparently. I don't know. So Shay, you're not one for one night stands, then? I'm assuming.
Silence. I've never had a one night stand in my life.
Yeah, I don't think it's a normal thing. I think people say it more than actually do it. You know what?
Yeah, it's not normal. It's kind of weird.
All right, so that's basically no to one night stands, but yes to sex on the first date if you're 30 and over.
I'm not there yet. I'm in the grey area.
If it's premeditated, you need to have a conversation about it. You need to trust me. It doesn't just. It's not just like, yeah, we'll go out on a date and I'm gonna bang you. It's not that. There's a whole thought process before it. You've planned that. You've had that conversation with that person. You both know what you're getting into. Do you get me? You're both mature adults.
Yes, it's all based on chemistry and attraction.
Definitely.
And connection.
And connect.
All of them things.
Do you know what I mean?
All of those little elements. You know what I mean? They add.
All those bits.
You get me?
By there.
If you're getting warm, under the pits and it's getting wet in certain places, then you know it's gonna happen. Do you know what I mean? Getting hot. You know what I mean?
He said warm under the pits, you know, of all places.
Yeah, if you got to get up from the seat and kind of wipe your leg with it.
This is what I'm saying, Six. Yeah, no girls warm under the pits.
Oh.
Man, I'm trying to teach you something, my brother.
You know when they make your nose sweat? When your nose sweat, your T-section, it's like, yo, it's on when we meet. Fuck it, let's go. The girls around you just talking about, I'm hot, you know. I bust the window. You get me? You know what you're doing. Know that you got some chemistry in that room, my brother.
I hear you. Life.purpose.journey says no. And no, but each to their own. But agree it's down to chemistry and connection.
Yes.
Yeah, we're saying namaste, yeah? All right, cool. I'm on this. Guys, it's almost that time. Yo.
You're a demon.
I'm a demon.
Yeah.
Go on, man.
Tell me why you talk like that.
So I'll buy a cross pendant. We're good.
Nah, man.
I'll get some holy water. We're good. Anyway, guys, before the live cuts out, that has been our time. Definitely been some fun. Definitely enjoyed it. Glad that everyone's smiling. I see that Cher's giving me the look. Don't worry, Cher. I said I'm ready. Yo, yeah. Smiling at me. All good. Those who are watching, thank you for watching. Make sure if you're watching on YouTube, you like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend. Don't forget, we're back next week live. Yeah, we're back next week live from 10:30 to 11:30. So until next week, I think it's a goodbye.
Peace, guys. Thanks for coming.
Bye, people.
We